Hello, ThorntonDarts here, and welcome back to another video. Today I'm joined by ThorntonDarts. Say hello, Dan.
How are you doing?
So Dan is the main man at ThorntonDarts. He's also a fellow darts designer, and today we're here to mainly talk about how we came up with our new Unity darts. So you can see those on the screen, and Dan's also got some in his hand, I believe. You can wiggle those around, Dan. There he is. They are available on Dan's website at quantumdarts.co.uk.
Right.
There you go. I couldn't think if it was .co.uk or .com, but yeah, they are available to purchase. But today's more just to tell you about how we sort of came up with the design and give you a bit of a backstory to the darts, because it's not like we were just sort of coming up with a random idea. You know, we'd met up, we kind of just want to tell the story of how we got here, really, because it's quite an interesting story. So, where do we start, Dan?
Well, we start way back when, really, and we first off met sort of at the Soft Hit Dart Big Weekender, where I was there a couple of years ago, down near Southampton. But we'd been talking a little bit before that, and kind of realised that we both shared a bit of a passion for darts, and both of us as design engineers and engineers looking, I think Zach kind of had like a more motor sort of sport background and sort of like automotive, and sort of more like metalwork and kind of sheet metal and like bakery equipment and ovens and things. So that's kind of where we were talking, and then we kind of realized, oh wait a minute, it's the same kind of passion that we've got of darts, and realized that we quickly designed stuff together. It's kind of like really good idea. So that's kind of where we thought, really. And then after I met him first, kind of in Southampton, we kept talking and kept in touch, and decided, yeah, now is the time. We've got to design a dart together.
Yeah.
Zach's been doing sort of custom dart work for people. Obviously, I design all the darts myself on the Quantum Darts website, and there's loads of stuff which I've got here which hasn't been released yet, and I'm quite excited about the future of Quantum Darts now, going forwards. But yeah, I've done custom darts for the dart players who I sponsor. Just enjoy designing darts, and especially seeing that people use them. I think that's kind of a great sort of talking point, really.
Yeah, it's kind of the best feeling. It's really fun designing darts, but when you see people on social media, then as you'll see with the Unity darts, that something that you've worked on, people are throwing their first 180 photo that they get online. They check out a big checkout, they love the darts. There's no better feeling, really. I mean, I'm lucky I get that a lot with custom darts, because there's loads of different people I work with, but I guess with commercial darts you do a lot, but it's still just as good of a feeling, because if anything it becomes a bit more iconic. My stuff's quite limited to one person, but when a wide range of people are saying the same thing about your darts, so in your case, people pick up the Unities. Let's say we sell, all of a sudden we've sold 100, and then you see a load of tweets online that everyone, or the consensus is that most people like them. That's awesome. You can't get much better than that.
A great feeling.
When it's an overall consensus of, yeah, what a great dart, and then you go, yeah, do you know what? It is a good dart. As you say, yeah. Go on.
Players as well, the players, obviously, I sponsor a couple of players.
Yes.
You've got David Wazowski, you've got Justin Smith, you've got Mike Gillett, Carl Beattie, any of the youngsters who I sponsor. They're all great players, and they're all doing well with the darts I've designed them. So I think that just means more that it's practical. They're using them, they're developing their skills, they're developing themselves, and I think that gives you a better feeling. Just seeing something concept design made and people being happy with it. I think those are the four real key points, to be honest with you.
I always say to people, it's kind of like your babies. When you see someone doing well with a dart you've worked on with someone, it's such a cool feeling. When I worked with Ryan, and Ryan hit a 9 dart the other day, and Ryan's the one throwing them, full credit to Ryan, but when you know that you've had a small part to play on the journey of him getting there, it's just cool. It's kind of what we've done here with Unity. We've come together. That's where the Unity name really came from. We were sort of brainstorming names, weren't we? We're thinking sort of collaboration and anything to do with sort of teamwork, and then I think we then stumbled across Unity, United, that sort of thing. And neither of us are United fans, so I thought we'd stay away from that. And Unity was where we sort of ended
It
up.
just fits it perfect, you know. It just absolutely nails it. And
Yeah,
even the wording on the packaging, how it looks on the packaging, even, I mean, it's a bit back to front there in the video, but it just everything about the dart, it just looks amazing, and I'm really happy, and I know you are as well.
yeah, I'm absolutely thrilled. I say when they come through, obviously we tested prototypes before and we were happy with them then. But when you see them all together, and obviously if you haven't seen Dan's new dart flights, the sticker bomb, check out on Dan's website. They really made it stand out. We had the black flights, and then they've got this rainbow sticker bomb effect. It really does. It's really nice when you've got a surround light and it sort of glistens in the light. It's
Right,
really
yeah,
cool.
absolutely. I
And the
think
whole package came together.
There's a couple of people who have posted photographs on sort of like Instagram and Twitter, and just seeing the light and reflect off around the dartboards and just reflecting off the flights. It just they do make it look awesome. Like, you know, I'm really happy with them how they turned out as well. So
I think
awesome.
we'll kind of go back to then when we first sort of got together. So I guess, as I say, we met at the big weekend. I was kind of talking to Dan before I do what I do now, and Dan, to be fair, was kind of giving me a bit of advice at that time, which was great. So I guess I owe a little bit to Dan of sort of getting into it. He kind of, I guess, inspired me a little bit. Dan, you probably don't want to hear it. You're quite a humble guy, but coming to see Dan with his stand there and all these darts and playing darts on the soft tip machines, it kind of got me into it even more because I'd never played soft tip until that point, and that was really cool. And then we chatted it, and then I obviously got into custom darts, and then I was doing what I was doing, Dan was doing what he was doing, and we were still talking briefly, and then we just said, why don't we do a dart together? Let's meet up somewhere. I think you were in London already, and you were like, "Oh, do you want to come and meet up, and we'll do a bit
Yeah,
together?"
yeah,
And that's essentially what we did. Got the train down, and we met at Marleybone, and then there was a darts bar not too far, basically, and we wanted to play a bit of darts because there was some soft tip boards down there, and yeah, Dan ended up bringing his laptop, and yeah, we just had a bit of a combo of darts and darts, I guess. Darts design, darts
yeah.
playing,
Designing,
and
designing, playing, and discussions of darts. Everything was darts all day.
yeah, it was
Yeah,
literally all day.
absolutely.
It was brilliant. I think I had a Greg's, and then came down, and it was weird because it was a weird time of the day, and there was just no one around. We had this whole downstairs to ourselves, and I'm pretty sure the fire alarm went off.
I can't recall that, but it might have happened.
I'm
That was a
sure.
long time ago.
Yeah, I'm
I
sure a
was
fire
looking.
alarm.
I think it was like last November actually when we met up originally for
Yeah,
this.
yeah,
So
yeah. I think
it
you're
was a long
right.
time. I've done a lot since then.
Yeah, I remember it being cold. To be fair, yeah, and we had a load of darts, and we were just throwing them. Dan had some of his, and I had some of mine, and some other bits, and then we just started brainstorming really. And as I say, we ended up coming up with kind of what you can see on the screen now. But in terms of design, I mean, we kind of started just doing random things. To be honest, I guess the first thing we should sort of talk about was kind of length and width and weight. We kind of wanted to go with something that was fairly popular. Um,
Yeah,
Basically, when you do a dart, the dart starts off as a large cylinder. That's what's called a billet, and they usually come in certain sizes. And one of the most common ones, um, the length is 50.8. And what that means is basically, um, it's a bit. You don't have to do loads of machining to get it down to the length. Say they did 54.6 billets and we did a 51, we couldn't use a 50.8, so you'd have to machine all the length off of the longer billet, which would take more time. um,
and
so
obviously more machining time actually adds more cost to it.
yes,
But then it's kind of you know, you waste a lot of material there. It's not just about the turning time; it's about the waste of material there because you know you're effectively wasting the
mm,
3 mil material. And obviously, when when a tungsten billet is costing so much in the first place as raw material, that adds the extra cost, which is, you know, if you can help it, try and avoid it. You know.
yeah, and I guess if you're losing 3 mil, eventually, if you take it over the life of making 100 darts, you've essentially lost a couple of sets of darts there.
Yeah. exactly.
Which, if we could avoid that if possible, that was kind of the idea, really. That's kind of where I think a lot of times people maybe think darts design is just making something fancy, but there's a lot of thinking in terms of efficiency of machining, trying to make it.
From the manufacturing perspective,
Yeah.
you know, that's kind of my background is sort of more manufacturing, engineering, design engineering, kind of
Yeah.
making things as efficient as possible and stuff. So, yeah, you know, you want to standardize everything as much as you can.
And I think then we kind of just, again, we kind of went a little bit random where we just both had ideas and we just started kind of, we were both sat around the computer and we kind of both took turns and just sort of go, well, I was thinking something like this. Oh, yeah. And then our ideas kind of bounced off each other and think, oh, yeah, I like that, but let's try this and let's try that.
And I think I seem to recall that we started off with a dart which was a completely different shape for this. It was a shorter barrel. It was like, you know, it was a wider barrel, and it was a shorter barrel. And I can't even remember how many we actually came up with in the first place to kind of get to where we are in this one here. But I know there was quite a few different kind of, you have a go, you have a go,
Yeah.
and effectively we just got there in the end for this.
Yeah, and I think, for example, we were both trying different things. I mean, if we go into, let me go into here, you can see, for example, if we go into some of the geometry, if you can see here, like some of these circles that aren't even included in the actual cuts, is because they were ideas we had, and then we ended up removing parts and
Yeah.
trying different things. And as you say, it becomes different patterns, and then you remove bits, add bits back in, and I remember we actually kind of started at one point in the middle and we almost had like a cross shape, and we liked the idea of a middle reference point, but also it was a little tricky to machine as well. Let me make this kind of bit silver so we can see it a little bit, but you can kind of see in there we essentially wanted a middle reference point, and rather than mill sort of both,
like center kind of balance in a way,
yeah,
center balance of the barrel.
yeah, we kind of started with a cross, and then rather than mill both ways, we thought that's when the V groove came in. So a lot of people have messaged us to say, "Oh, are these darts scalloped?" And they're not. It's a straight barrel, but as you can see here, we've got an ever so slight dip right in the middle, and then I think the grip pattern gives a bit of an illusion that it is a scalloped dart, but it's a completely straight barrel.
Yeah.
Maybe because there's not actually much flat area to hold on to, it looks that way, because as you can see here, we've got lots of curves with the cuts built into it, and that gives the illusion that it is a scalloped dart, but on the basis it is a very straight dart. It's just there's not a lot of flat section, I guess,
Yeah.
which is where we kind of get the grippy feel from, because I think you get this a lot. I know you did Mike Gillett's darts, Dan, and he uses a smooth barrel, and a lot of people say that they are. Everyone thinks they're very slippy, but because there's more of your fingers actually touching the barrel, they can actually be grippier than people think.
Yeah, and I've found, you know, I've thrown some of the Mike Gillett darts myself, and you know, I'm not a great player. I don't tend to hit many 180s or score well, you know, but I enjoy the game regardless. But you find the more the barrel tarnishes, you know, the more you use them, the more you grip them, the better the grip gets, and you know, it's like it's hard feeling to describe. But
Yeah.
the more you use them, the better they get in your fingers, and the better that they do feel to throw. You know, so it's surprising how much grip that they do actually give off.
Yeah, for sure. And as I say here, we kind of went for more of a sharper approach, I guess. It started off with a couple of curves, and then we ended up adding cuts in the curves. Now, you can see them quite clearly here because we're zoomed in, but obviously, if you think about it, when you get a dart in your hand, it's probably going to look more like this in reference view, because darts aren't very
Yeah.
big at all. But obviously, as we zoom in, it's very hard to see this detail, and in real life, it's hard to see it unless you zoom in very close. But
Right. I mean, on the actual darts themselves, you probably wouldn't notice that.
no,
It's quite hard to see.
it's ever so subtle, but it does give that little bit of extra. The way we'd describe it, Dan, it's not a super grippy, aggressive, sharp dart, but it is grippy.
It's
I
grippy
guess,
in the right places.
yeah, it's got grip on it. It's not it's really hard to describe. It's not a sticky grip I never found. It's just sharp. I didn't find that, for example, when I use sort of razor grip darts, my fingers get stuck to it. I didn't get that with these, which was really nice. It was just the feel rather than it being physically sticky. That's what I liked about them. There was enough there to be grippy without being sticky, and it kind of was the perfect balance, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree.
And it worked very
And
well.
I think the like obviously we're talking about the level of grip there, and like the V-shaped grooves are typical of the quantum grip type dart, and
Yeah.
that's something which I really like the V-shaped grooves and how they tend to feel in your fingers, like the grip levels that they give off.
Mm.
So we've got the lateral cuts in the middle going across the portion of the barrel. We've got the majority of the grip center focused, but then it's still sort of suitable for more of a rear grip and a front grip as well, because the may not get as much grip from the V-shaped grooves, but there's certainly the edges as they catch your fingers just after the radius of the grooves, so the round grooves around it. Honestly, it just feels so good to throw.
Yeah.
Like I tend to throw from more the middle of the barrel myself.
Yeah.
So when I threw these, obviously the lateral cuts are picking up on my fingers. It's great, but I have had other people who have bought these from me sort of locally, and they are, they're finding that the V-shaped grooves are really, really grippy for them, and they love them, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But it's definitely sort of more grip tied kind of V-shaped groove, and I think Zach actually has the grip tied there that you can show you what I mean.
Yeah, so as Dan just mentioned, obviously I'll have worked on some barrels. Dan's already worked on some barrels, again, through Quantum. And then there's certain bits that we'll like of different barrels. And Dan actually sent me a 3D part here that we can take a look at and show you where those silver sort of cuts came from as such. So if I can zoom in here, you can see if we switch between the Unity and oh, I'm twirling away there, probably the wrong way. This is slightly different, but you can see these V cuts and circular cuts there is kind of what inspired those section of the darts really, and it's something that Dan, obviously you've thrown a bit, other people have thrown and have had good feedback with, so that's kind of where that area came from, and a section of the dart that we both liked and we wanted to put in the barrel design. So it doesn't always have to be fresh brand new ideas. We can take things that work from other things, which is kind of what I do a lot in my custom work. Someone will love a grip of a dart at the front, a grip of a dart on the back, and they want to bring them together, and that's kind of what we did here. We both like the grip on the quantum grip ties in these areas, and we thought, yeah, that would work really good with what we have in our own barrels. So I think that worked really well.
You find a lot of that in design anyway. You've got certain things which people pick up on and they like them. A lot of things that are manufactured these days. Some of the stuff has been the same for the last 50 years. Some of the stuff has changed every year. You've got sections where still the fundamental basics of the dart or fundamental basics of any other product that you
Yeah.
you kind of take the bits that are either they're there for a reason for sort of more structural purposes or something, or they're there for aesthetics and people just like the way it looks and they don't really evolve because they're happy with how it is.
Yeah, and I think the thing to remember as well is, especially when you work with players, all darts start from other darts. Well, most of the time. They're usually inspired by a barrel that someone else likes, or so I think when something works in a dart, you don't necessarily have to change it. You can maybe put it in a different place or try and merge it in with some other things. But as I say, when you work with players, they're going to have used a dart previously and they know that things that work for them. And that's kind of what we did here. We knew that we liked that grip on the quantum grip side. We carried it over into our Unity darts to help break up those other reference points. And yeah, it worked out really well, I think.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's the one thing that we can kind of utilize the 3D software for designing, is that we can just start with a blank canvas. We don't have to, we're not restricted by anything. It's easy to change parts. It's easy to do things that, you do something once and then you think, no, I don't like that. And then you get to modify it, and this takes about 2 seconds to be able to visualize it again. It's really easy, and that's where kind of use 3D software rather than actually maybe manufacturing it in the first place.
Yeah.
As a straight off, you know, it doesn't cost you to do the designs, but it might cost you to make an actual physical product. So that's where that's really where we can utilize it really.
Yeah, I think with the 3D software and sitting down together looking at it, we could both get a good idea of what it's going to look like when we actually go to make them. So we didn't have to reel off loads and loads of prototypes. Again, the first prototype we did get done is because we knew that was what we wanted to go with. After testing it, we thought, yeah, that's good. We're happy. We didn't have to go through loads of samples because the software that we used gave us a very good idea of what we were looking for, and because as I say, we use parts from the grip ties that we've already held before. We use some. Granted that we weren't. We knew that it would be grippy, but obviously, reason why we get the sample is to check exactly how grippy that would be and to make sure that it's a comfortable grip and not a sticky, horrible. In my opinion, anyway. I know there's a lot of builders out there and carpenters and people that have really rough skin that probably couldn't even feel some of the grip that people make. But yeah, we just wanted to make sure that it was something that was kind of in between, I guess, that wasn't rough but would work for the people that do like grip.
And another thing is that on the software you get a calculated center of gravity. Just gives you the idea of the balance point. Um, well, obviously you want to check that and you want to throw it in and see how it actually feels in
Yes.
your hand with the points in, with the stems in, with the flights, different flight combinations, different stem combinations.
Yes.
So you've got to try it out and you've got to feel it for yourself, and you've got to be able to assess it in the physical form as well.
I always say that you can't engineer a feeling until you got it in your hand. You can't tell how it's going to feel, especially with darts and how they fly. That's why we got some samples done, and we had a good bit of fun, to be fair. Just try them, and then it's the excitement of them waiting for them to be made and get them out to everyone. And as we mentioned before, when everyone tweets you back saying what a great dart, then you know that your job is done and it was worth putting that extra effort in.
Definitely.
Yeah. Mwah, voila.
Voila. It's checking through each set of darts. I check every set for making sure the quality is right, and I do kind of strive by that. That if the quality is not right, that it doesn't go out the door to the customer.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people kind of do live by a similar mentality or thought process on that, but I check every set of darts to make sure they're right before they go out. And so pride ThorntonDarts on is that is kind of making sure that the quality is right and making sure that people
Yeah.
can be happy.
I say, I guess we're not the biggest of. We're not a Winmore. We're not a Target. We're not making thousands or 500 sets of darts. We're keeping it small so we can control it while still paying enough attention to it all. Because when you get to really big scales, there's not someone probably sitting there checking every single dart. They'll take a sample of some, and if there are some wrong, they'll go back through and check them. But the joy of being smaller like ourselves is we could take that extra care and make sure that everything that comes out is spot on. And if it's not, it doesn't go out. And then that's, yeah, simple as that. Um,
And hopefully that's kind of given everyone a little bit of an insight into the Unity dart, and like all the happy customers have purchased them already. I know that everyone's given some positive feedback on sort of like the socials, and we're really happy about that. So if anybody has any questions, even just feel free to fire them across to myself or Zach, and I'm sure we'll get around to answering as quick as we can. Ultimately, we're both here to help at the end of the day. So if you have any questions, yeah, feel free.
yeah, exactly. And as Dan said, I'll link both of our details in the video description. So if you do want to drop either of us a message, or I'll put the link to also buy these on Dan's website. I'll put the link in there. So if you are seeing these for the first time, and after hearing the story how they may want to get involved, again, get onto quantumdarts.co.uk. You can buy yourself some sets, and yeah, see what we're all talking about, because they are lovely darts. And you may be thinking they're just saying that because they're trying to sell them, but the reason we're trying to sell them is because we wanted to make a dart that people would enjoy. We've not just tried to come up with something random to make us some money. We genuinely wanted to work together, put our engineering and darts passion together, and then just create something that everyone's going to enjoy. Exactly.
Simple as that.
And again, the feedback that you guys give us on Twitter and Facebook is more valuable than everything. And knowing that people are hitting 180s at Super League and having fun in their houses over some tough times we've had recently, that's great. And as Dan said, any questions anyone has, drop us a message, and we'll get back to you. Right. And that's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed the story of how me and Dan came up with the Unity darts. And if you, again, are looking at these darts on the screen and thinking, oh, I need myself a set of those, everything is down below that you'll need to find them in the description. And yeah, that's about everything for us, guys. So have a wave off, Dan. See you later, guys, and we will catch you for another video, and maybe for a second Quantum Darts, ThorntonDarts collaboration. Who knows? Bye.